This is what people do when they have a pimple. Like they do this little beauty mark. I look like my mom because my mom has one of these. So to tell you about my academic journey, I have to start with high school. And so when I was in high school, that is when I started getting into psychology. So for full background, I currently am in my second year of my clinical psychology program, and I'm getting my doctorates. In my program, you have 5 years of school, like kind of 4+1, I guess, if you will. And in those 5 years, you take a mixture of, whether you are PsyD, PhD, you will take a mixture of both research and clinical classes. So it doesn't matter if you want to do research or whatever the case may be, if you want to do research or you want to do clinical work, either track is good for both. But if you are more focused on wanting to do research mainly, not as much clinical work, and you want to teach, or if you want to go international, you can go international with the PsyD, but like if you want to do stuff international with the research and teaching and all those different things, it is better to have a PhD. I switched from PsyD to PhD simply because I want to be able to do things in Nigeria, because I'm Nigerian and I eventually want to go over there and hopefully open up a clinic one day. I don't know. So yeah, that's part of my goals. Back to my story. In high school, I was very much interested in psychology due to AP Psych. I didn't even do that well in the class, but that's just because in high school I was very distracted and it was not really hyper-focused on getting the best grades, but I was smart enough to basically get by and do well. My goal was to go to UT, which is a whole nother story, but I wanted to go to UT and I did eventually. It was a bit of a road to get there, but once I got there, I ended up graduating early. And in school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for certain. All I knew was that I wanted to do something in psychology. I thought maybe I'll be a psychiatrist, because like I've seen my brother, he's in med school. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll follow his path. But then I was like, I don't want. One thing I knew is that I didn't want to go to med school. Like that was a very clear thing for me. My journey to basically getting into this PhD program was very straightforward for me. I definitely sought the Lord in everything that I did, and even how I found the school is a whole testimony, which I will share. So yeah, graduated high school, and then went to UTSA for undergrad, and I majored in psychology because, again, I knew I really liked psychology, and I knew that that was something I wanted to do in my career. I didn't know exactly how, but I felt very strongly pulled towards it. I'm a very sensitive person in general, but also to people. I definitely just really feel for the hearts of people and the ways that we are broken, and so I knew that the Lord was kind of calling me that way. It wasn't something that I initially even understood as a career. I didn't really know what people did with a degree in psychology except become like a therapist or a psychiatrist, or eventually use it for med school, as I saw like a lot of my other classmates doing, like majoring in psychology and then going to med school. But there's a lot more to it when you actually practice clinical training and do research. There's just so much you learn about the human body in a way that is not what culture might describe it to be. It's not just like, oh my gosh, are you reading my mind? It's like, no, I'm not reading your mind. I'm literally just listening to what you're saying and hearing the underlying part of that you aren't seeing. Because we really don't know ourselves as well as we think we do, which is why we need people, and we need people who are trained to understand the way the mind works and the way human tendencies show up in life in ways that we may not know. Like, we still don't know everything about the brain. So how can you say you know everything about yourself? You don't. So there's just no way. We're too complex and we're too beautifully and wonderfully structured to know everything about ourselves. But we can get to know ourselves deeper and understand ourselves a little better through therapy. That's my spiel on therapy. But yes, so graduated undergrad. I went to UTSA for a year, and then I transferred to UT, and I continued with undergrad. I did all of my prereqs that I would have needed for if I even wanted to do med school, or if I wanted to do PhD program. I did all those prereqs. One tip I'll give if you're interested in a PhD program is to look at the schools that you're interested in, look at their requirements for applications and people who want to go to that school, and make sure that you are taking those classes. If you're a psych major, you're already going to take those classes, so that kind of knocks it out the park. But if you're not a psych major and you might be missing some credits, make sure you check to see what your school requires so that you can get those credits before you apply, because otherwise they might not take you because they're required, right? They're prerequisites. Yeah, I did that, and then after I graduated college, I graduated with a 3.5 GPA. Woohoo, you know, I did my best. A lot of my GPA, like what was carrying my GPA was my psych classes. Like I was really good with psych classes. I think of all my psych classes, I only got like 2 Bs because I just really liked it. I really when I'm interested in something, I'm going to do well in it because I'm interested in it. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense for people to do the things that they like. Of course, there's going to be some hard classes here and there, but I definitely recommend, if you like psychology, do your best in those psych classes. Because even if you may do bad in stats or you do bad in biology or something, whatever other required classes you have to take in undergrad, if your psych grades are really like strong, then you're a better applicant. Stats actually does help, and I know that's one of the few maths that you take in undergrad, so if you do well in stats, that will be very helpful for you. So definitely do your best. I think it's one of the easier maths, but it just really depends on the person. So yeah, I graduated, 3.5 GPA, and I took a gap year. Before I started my gap year, I got in a job as a research assistant in a systematic review. And a systematic review basically looks at a bunch of different papers based on like on multiple research questions that the paper is asking, and it gathers a bunch of different research papers to review it and see how are these variables interacting with each other? What are all of these studies showing? What is the overarching thing with all these studies? I'm still on that project. It has taken 3 years to do. It is not an easy task, and so I'm really excited to be done with it. But it's been really cool to be a part of it, and that really helped in my experience with understanding research and being interested in research. And so having that as my background was really good. In 2021, when I graduated, 2022, I thought that I needed to get another job. I thought I needed more, opportunities that were research related. But I soon noticed that that isn't actually necessary. I actually can get into where I want without all of that. It was a really big relief for me, but it was hard to wrap my head around. I was applying for jobs for 6 months, and there was just nothing. I was getting nothing but pressure from my parents about working. And I had the same research assistant job that I had when I graduated. It just wasn't enough income for me. It was more in my own head. I said I wasn't making enough, but that wasn't true. I had all I needed, right? But of course, it's always good to make more money. The Lord wasn't allowing me to. Literally, I applied to so many different places for more research experience, I just left and right looking for opportunity, and opportunity was not trying to be found by me. So I just let that go, and it was hard at first to settle on that, but the Lord gave me a lot of peace, and I'm glad that I settled on it because I was able to really enjoy my gap year and tap into my creative endeavors. And so it was intentional that happened that way. So eventually when I applied for my PhD program, all I had in my bag was this systematic review and a big heart for psychology. The school that I was applying to saw that, and my essay was very raw and very honest of my own experiences with mental health, and that is a big strength. If you can talk about your own experiences with mental health, if you can talk about your love for mental health, if you can talk about your why, basically, because nobody wants a therapist who doesn't actually care about people or care about mental health. That's not gonna get you into the school. Maybe, I don't know, but most schools don't just care about your grades and about your experience. They care about if you actually care about the community. And if they don't, then I wouldn't recommend going to that school, because there's no point in going to a clinical psychology school looking to serve mental health and you don't actually care about mental health. They don't actually care about mental health. They're just here for the money, just here to have a good graduation rate or whatever the case may be. I don't know. definitely look for schools that align with your values and interview other schools when you're applying to these programs. So, sorry, let me backtrack. How I found the school that I'm going to, which is Biola University, Rosemead School of Psychology. How I found this school was all God. I was studying for a psych exam, and I remember just feeling so distracted and unmotivated, didn't want to study. I was so done with the semester. COVID had just ended, and like I was back on campus, I think. No, it was before COVID. Pre-COVID days? Yeah, I think it was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID days. Top of 2020. Whew. Wow, top of 2020. I looked up this school and I saw that it was located in California. And I had looked for schools in California before, and it never really like hit me that I would live there ever. But I visited in 2020 and I was like, oh, I think I could live here. Top of 2020, maybe like February or so. I was studying for my exam and I looked up PsyD programs in California. And the first school that popped up for the first time ever, and I had looked this up before, I looked up PsyD programs in California before, I found Biola, and I thought it represented everything that I wanted to do in psychology. And so one of the things that I really am passionate about is my faith. I was looking for a school that would bridge like the spiritual with the psychological, because I felt like a lot of things were very spiritually rooted in psychology. I mean, like, you think about the mind, body, soul, like mind, body, soul, spirit, like that's all linked together, right? And I believe the spiritual realm is way more real than the natural realm. And so I was just very drawn to do some type of integrated psychology. And I didn't know if there were any schools that were like Christian schools that had a psychology program that integrated well. I didn't even know what integration is, but that's what I was looking for, and I didn't know it. And so that school popped up on my Google, and I clicked on it. I got more information. I kept in touch with them until the next application season, which I applied in 2020. I applied in 2022. I didn't actually apply or anything because I was still in school, right? I hadn't graduated yet. So, and then my gap year was from 2021 to 2022. At the end of 2022, I applied, started school in 2023, and here I am now in 2024 in my second year. What the time goes, for real. That was kind of my journey of finding that school was all God, because again, I had looked up schools with the same title and everything before, and I had never seen Biola University. I didn't even know what a Biola was. And this school is really such a hidden gem. I feel like the Lord is really doing some things in this school that is not happening at other Christian, quote unquote Christian schools. And no Christian school is really perfect per se, but I feel like this one really is sound in their doctrine and is sound in just believing God's word and putting it as the final authority, no matter how many times people try to question what is true and what isn't. I can't tell you a time where it hasn't been. I don't play about God, y'all. I don't. Yeah, so that was the story of me getting to Biola. Some tips I will mention if you are interested in applying to a PhD program. The first thing is definitely know your why. You cannot do mental health without truly having a love and care for people and having an undisputable yes for caregiving, like being a caregiver. It can be very fatiguing, but if you are so passionate about people healing and like having the tools to be able to reach healing, because I truly believe that therapists don't necessarily heal, and one of my supervisors said this the other day, but like, we don't heal people, we give people the tools to be healed. I truly believe that only God heals, and so if God works through us to heal somebody, praise the Lord. But we can give tools and give insight into what habits you need to have, how you can be healthy, how you can operate health in healthy ways in order to reach that healing that you're looking for. And so that's kind of my outlook with therapy. I feel like I'm in therapy myself. Our school requires it, which I think is great. And it really has opened my eyes to like blind spots in my life, because we go through a lot growing up that we don't even notice sometimes. And I find it so important that we do not forsake what has happened to us, because it could be subconsciously affecting us, right? Causing us to be a way that we were never intended to be. So a part of just living in this fallen world is realizing that we are broken people. In different ways we are broken. And so to be able to not just explain your love for therapy, but your reason for wanting to be a part of this field is really important. Know why you want to be a therapist, because there will be things along the way that will test you. I'm not even there yet and I'm already feeling it. It's not a lightweight thing to walk with people through their traumas and through their hurts and brokenness towards healing. But it is such a beautiful, rewarding thing. Know your why. Know why you want to go into this field. Don't just be a part of it for the money. So yeah, that's my first tip. Second tip I have, get experience in some type of way. It may not have to be research, but if you can find a place to work where you work with kids with autism, or at a psychiatric hospital somehow, some way, if you feel like that's something you're interested in, working with a research study or a research project, which can be very tricky and hard to get into, but it is possible. It is possible. Finding where you can just work and get some experience in the mental health field is really great. If you can do behavioral, I forgot what they call it, ABA therapy or something. Getting experience in research is really good for your application. I don't recommend having an application with no type of experience, but I do believe that it's possible still to get in. I think anything is possible with God, right? But do your part and make sure that you have some type of experience, because it's also good for you to know, like, do I actually like this field? Do I not like this kind of thing in this field? Where would I want to be more focused in? Allowing yourself to have some experience in different ways is always really good. That's my second tip. Get some experience. You know, makeup these days just don't hit the same, you know? Third tip I would have is to really work on your essay. To make yourself a more competitive candidate is to have a really good essay. I think if you have an essay that tells a story of why you want to be in this field, it will make you a much more competitive applicant. Have your essay proofread, you know, Grammarly that thing. Have people read it and read it to other people, because you might notice something when you say it versus when someone else reads it. Don't have a sorry essay. Like, let your essay be something good that you spend time on and that you really think about. The questions that they ask are very open-ended for a reason, because they really want you to, maybe not all of them, but they really want you to give some depth to your answers. They really want to know more about you. And something I really enjoyed about Rose Mead, if they accepted your application, they also had a, not in person, but a real interview with you where they would ask you questions. Mine was over Zoom, but they would ask you questions in person before they, you know, sent out, yeah, we want you, or no, we don't want you. For me, my questions were very like personal and also very real, asking me about culture and community, diversity, asking me about, you know, my strengths and weaknesses, my most hard moments, how I am with feedback. Like, that's some real stuff that people need to be asking people. You can't be in a program that trains you how to be a therapist and not be able to take feedback, not be able to handle diversity and understand people's culture. Like, just throw it away if that's the case. You know, you're constantly getting evaluated, and people are helping you become a better therapist, and a lot of that is going to involve feedback, so you have to be able to handle that. But yeah, those are some things to be mindful of when it comes to this degree. One final tip I will give is seek the Lord about this. If you're not someone who knows much about Jesus, God, all that stuff, but you're interested in just learning more about who God is, and like, you may not even like know what this higher being stuff is. You might be dabbling in some other things, but you've seen so much about it, good and bad, and you're looking for just like an honest perspective, a real perspective that will tell you, yes, this is good, yes, this is bad, yeah, we've done this, yeah, we've done that, Christian this, Christian that. It's really a derogatory term that was given to us back in the Bible as a way to mock people who follow Jesus, which is funny. But if you are interested in those things, let me know. I'll first disclaim with that. But if you already do follow the Lord, this is my exhortation to you to really, really, really take time to fast and pray about this. This is not a career that is lightweight. There's so many people in this world who are struggling and looking for light, looking for help. And I think not only is therapy good, but someone who knows the Lord and is your therapist is an even more powerful thing because they carry the Holy Spirit. I urge you urgently to really seek the Lord if this is where he's calling you to. He might be calling you into the mental health field, but not as this specific career. I truly did not know what I was supposed to do, and I sought the Lord, and he told me, like, no, I want you to go in there and bridge that gap between my relationship with my people and their psyche that I created, their mind that I created, their hearts that I created. God created all those things, and like he wants us to learn about it, and not just learn about it, but be able to help people with his power at work in us. Being able to be a psychologist or a therapist that doesn't get all the glory because we have all the knowledge, but being a psychologist, a therapist that can say, I don't know how I found this out, or I don't know how I knew this, but I know that God is in me and he's working in me, and so he's going to get the glory. I think it's an amazing thing to be able to be a therapist and also know God, because he's the one that reveals so much more to us beyond what books could ever reveal to us, even though he's in that too. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more videos about my psychology journey, subscribe and leave a comment down below as I'm in my second year, and let me know what you want to see. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm finna head out. Should I show y'all the fit? Let's see the fit. Here's the fit. Nothing crazy. Something simple. See. Bye guys. Bye y'all. Thanks for watching.